I knew that I had absolutely zero chance to get this doll. I put my bid and I lost. Hello amazing ghouls and humans, and I'm very happy to see you in the second episode of my Scary Cool Story series. Today, while unboxing this wonderful lady in a completely destroyed box, I will tell you about how I got into Monster High prototypes, because it's also a very long story. For years and years, I've been trying to figure out why. Just why, no matter what I am interested in, I'm trying to go down into the depths. No matter if it's biography of some historical figure, or some fandom, or some book, or dolls. No matter what it is, I'm trying to understand everything and learn every single detail about this topic. Maybe this is just how my brain is wired, and well, I guess it has its own perks and minuses. So when I got into doll collecting, since the beginning I was just very interested in how they were made. What was behind the dolls that we are holding in our hands, for example, in the toy store? Why they are so different from the promo pictures? Why they are so different from the dolls we see on the toy shows like Comic-Con or something? When I was a child, my knowledge was quite limited. First of all, because I didn't really know English that much, and I was limited only to my local Monster High groups, and the information there was not as deep. So basically, all I knew about the production of Monster High was that very short, very small video with rerouting of Twilight Head. And that's basically it. And somewhere in that time, I'm not sure which year it was. Well, I was still very young, and I was still only sitting in the Russian groups, so I didn't really have access to any US forums, but I had an access to the eBay. Even though I couldn't buy anything from there, I could just at least watch the listings. So there was an ordinary day, and I was, as usual, scrolling through ads when I came across as something very interesting. For you to understand, from the prototype topic, all we had was some like 3 to 4 pictures, and mostly pictures from exhibitions, so like official ones. So all I knew is that no one from Just Collectors owns prototypes, and well, let's say like this, I hardly knew that prototypes is kind of a thing. And that was a day when I was, as usual, scrolling through eBay, and I came across something very interesting. Actually, I found a bidding for a Monster High prototype doll stuck to the screen. I can't even explain to you the feeling that I had at that time. It was some kind of like excitement and almost like numbness. I've been just looking at something incredible. I've been following this listing, and I would check on it time to time during the day, and I was just looking at this doll and trying to spot any small details that I can, and it was something unbelievable. It was almost like I couldn't believe my eyes that I was seeing such a thing for sale. And I've been just looking at how days were slipping away, and I knew that I had absolutely zero chance to get this doll. Because, well, first of all, my parents would never let me to bid for something at that time. And second of all, I just didn't have access to PayPal or any payment systems, and we just didn't know how to organize everything. So it was some kind of looking at something that is so close, but at the same time that is miles away from you. You have this privilege to just look at it, at least look at it. So at some point, of course, it got sold and it went away. To be honest, like, for some days I would have this dream that maybe it will get released or something, but no, it didn't. I just kept going with my life. I mean, to be honest, for some days I was in a very strange condition. I was almost like a little bit shaking, because I would just think of it and think of it and think of it, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. But at the same time, I knew that basically there is nothing I can do. So, well, I can't say that I forgot about it, because it would pop up in my feed time to time and people would discuss this listing. And for me it was kind of an interesting feeling, because I felt myself very privileged that I kind of followed this bidding online. I remember how I got a dream. At the same time, I really dreamed of clothing coffin bin, retail one at least. And I remember I had the dream that I'm getting the coffin bin playset and I'm opening the box. Instead of the retail clothing, there is that prototype. Like, I take this doll in my hands and my hands are shaky and I'm just looking at her and I'm understanding that this is that exact doll. And so the year was 2021. I just got my Circa and Candy dolls. I had kind of like notification, organized eBay notification, that if there will be something Monster High prototype related, I will get a notification. And I remember I was in the grocery store and I got the notification and I looked at it and I again couldn't believe my eyes, because there were not one but 3 prototypes for sale. It was Scary's Draculaura, and I remember just fleeing out of that grocery store, being completely out of this reality. I just got into my car, and my mother, she couldn't really understand what was going on with me, why I am like this, what happened in the grocery store. She would just ask me, and even I couldn't explain to her, because I would show her the screen very kind of near her eyes, so she really couldn't see anything, and scream something like, look at these dolls, do you see it, this is prototypes, can you imagine this? Well, my poor mother. And there were like bids already, but I decided to text the seller. First of all, because there was a very long description, and I kind of realized that probably this person is really into Monster High 2, at least like this is a collector. It's not just someone who accidentally got these dolls. It's not like a scalper, so it's a person who also appreciates these dolls. And as I was still in this very interesting mood, I basically created a very long and kind of very personal message. And it was again for me a huge breakthrough my anxiety. And I understand that if I would be calm, probably I would never kind of send someone such a message. But well, that was my moment. I, to be honest, I didn't really hope that I will get a response, because, well, basically, again, like, my message was very strange. But I got a response. I got a response, and the person who owned these dolls turned out to be such an interesting conversationist, and now we are friends, and I'm so grateful to have this friendship. And we kind of started to discuss dolls and prototypes. During like our conversation, I realized that she owns not like Draculaura, but also a lot of others. And what I also realized, that that exact person was the one who years ago bought Coffin Bean Claudine. How the fate works! But at that time, the main topic was still Draculaura, because the bidding was for her. And these 10 days, it was a bidding for 10 days, basically the longest I've ever seen. That was very difficult 10 days for me. And I remember like preparing for the day X. Basically, well, it was night X for me, because the end of auction was at night. And I've been kind of learning how to put bids, because I guess it was even maybe it was the first ever bidding. I'm not sure, but I was still kind of new to it. Oh my god, I was so anxious. I was so anxious. I was so anxious that I couldn't sleep that night when the bidding was about to happen. And in like 1 second before the closing of the auction, I put my bid and I lost. And I remember like I went to my mother's bedroom and she was also awake, well, because I would run around the house like this during the entire night. I wasn't able to lay normally, and I said to her that I lost. And basically like I lost literally on like 10 bucks or something, so it was some very, very small amount of money. And like even she was mad. I mean, mostly she doesn't care about my dolls, like she's supportive, but she is kind of neutral. But at that time she would be like, I said to you to put bigger bid, why did you decide to go with that sum? It was some kind of a very interesting moment. And basically I went to bed that night. I went to bed and I managed to sleep. I had a night dream. I had a dream that I won her. And can you imagine my feelings when I woke up that morning? And I kind of, well, I texted to the seller still that I'm kind of lost, but it was an interesting experience and I kind of still really like this doll. And I hope that everything... to be honest, I'm not sure what I texted to them, but I texted something. For some days, everything was silent. For some days, everything was silent, and I already kind of tried to move on. I couldn't. And I even remember how I would stand under the night sky and I would search for shooting stars, and I saw one, and I made a wish that I want this Draculaura. I really, really want her. And at that time it was not about just owning like any prototype. In these 10 days I fell in love with that exact Draculaura. And can you imagine that literally like the next day after that wish, I got the message from the seller, and she said that she was very anxious because the person who won the auction, they didn't respond and they didn't kind of pay for the bidding. Kind of that she will wait for some days, and if the person will not respond, then she will let me to buy her. In a few days, I was again in that exact grocery store. Now I have a meme about this grocery store, because actually one more purchase of one more prototype happened in that exact place. I'm not sure what's going on, but yeah, I was in the same grocery store and I got the notification that I'm allowed to buy the Draculaura prototype. And when I paid and when the dolls were sent, I got in this strange numbness, because like 90% of me couldn't believe that it is going on and that it is happening. I would keep the fact that I won the auction in secret, because I have this rule of keeping a secret that I bought something until it gets delivered to me, because I already had the situation how I got into a huge drama moment with one person that I really liked. But it's for another video. I will tell this story too, because it's absolutely stupid but funny but sad and still triggers me sometimes. But yeah, I would not confess to anyone. But when I got the package, when you buy you're the first doll, any first doll, you feel something very special. I remember getting the first ever Monster High dolls, and it was again this shaky hands and huge eyes and some derealization moment. And after, when you already getting 110th dolls or something, it gets a little bit lighter. You're getting it, yes, you like it, but it's still just yes, to unwrap it and put on the shelf. But with prototype, I can say that no matter how many of them you will get, you will always have this feeling oh my god, it's the world is getting upside down. I remember I've been unwrapping them, and I at first I didn't even want to touch them, because well, at that time I still was very new to prototypes, and I would oh my god, probably these dolls were touched by Garrett or by Rebecca or by someone, and now I'm touching them. Oh my god, it's not right. A lot of weird thoughts. I don't know, I was young. And I remember making the unboxing video. If I find this, it will be somewhere here, but oh my god, they were so beautiful, very different. But that time I somehow got out of the contact with the seller, sadly. It was very sad, but I got too overwhelmed with everything going on. I guess I had very difficult time at work at that time. But at some point, she herself texted me and asked how were the dolls, and I said that they were incredible, that they are basically now one of my favorite things on my doll shelf. She said that she is going to sell some more prototypes very soon, and she said that one of the dolls that she will be listing for sale will be Coffin Bean Claudine. Oh my god, I again had the moment when my world got upside down. And in a few weeks or months, I'm not sure, but anyway, I got Claudine. I got this Claudine. And I think if my doll collecting, especially prototypes collecting, would be a book, the reader would read it and say no, that's a bad book. because it could never happen. It's unrealistic. Because basically it's not the only story when I would get the doll that was kind of my forever dream and it was one of a kind and I lost on it, or I never saw it and after I got her. Like, maybe I'm very unfortunate in my everyday life, maybe I'm very unfortunate in health, but well, at least I am fortunate in dolls. This is something that makes me happy. This is something that brings me joy and basically something that keeps me alive. And the only thing that it still doesn't bring me any money, it only takes it away. But well, who knows how it will be in future. And yes, let's return to our Iris, who is already almost out of the box. This time I'm not keeping the box because it's like completely destroyed and very dusty, and I don't really again care about this type of the box. Now in my collection is so many prototypes that I kind of didn't really count at that time. I mean, I will as soon as I sort out my things a little bit, because now I'm like most of the time out of the home, and when I'm at home I'm recording new videos. And Iris is out of the box, and basically I have her prototype here. And the reason why don't you want to focus? Okay, the reason why I unboxed her is because I need to do a comparison, and yeah, they are so interesting. I can't wait to show you them closer and to spot all the small differences. And here we have all three of them. Yeah, they need some minor makeover work with their hair, but yeah, it's still in process. And I guess this one I will after redress in the third outfit, so kind of the prototype will be in the main outfit and retail ones will wear the additional ones. I would gladly leave prototype and retail like together in this outfit, like for the comparison, but yeah, I guess to get one more nude Iris, it's kind of very difficult now. So at least so far there will be 3 of them. And thank you a lot for watching. Love you!